In last week's video, I provided you my favorite wooden roller coaster from each decade, starting off in 1900. Now it's time to talk steel. Even though there has been steel roller coasters before the 1950s, I won't be discussing any of them because I never rode any of them. Alright, let's get to the list. (1950 to 1959) Mattherhorn Bobsleds opened in 1959, located at Disneyland in Anaheim, California. Not only is this one amazingly themed roller coaster, it was a technical marvel of the time as it was the first ever tubular steel track coaster. This fun roller coaster is built inside and around the Mattherhorn replica. Riders have the option of choosing two tracks, the left or the right side. Both versions are very similar but still have their own separate journey. Along the way, riders will come in contact with a Yeti and other various surprises. This may not be the most thrilling roller coaster on today's list, but where it lacks in thrills, it makes up with charm. 1960 to 1969 Cedar Creek Mine Ride opened in 1969, located at Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio. Another roller coaster barely squeaking by in its prospective decade. Cedar Creek Mine Ride was the only roller coaster I could locate on RCDB that I've been on that opened during this decade. This Aero Mine Train roller coaster can't even crack the 50-foot mark, but still manages to deliver some exciting moments. The ride interacts well with the body of water that it's built over, but unfortunately, there's also some dry spots. After the second lift hill, the ride meanders around for a bit before completing the grand finale helix. Younger coaster enthusiasts will find something here to enjoy, while the rest of us will be running over to Maverick or Steel Vengeance, located right next door. 1970 to 1979 Loch Ness Monster opened in 1978, located at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, in Williamsburg, Virginia. Aero was the king of roller coasters for many years, and the 70s was no different. After successfully opening the first modern looping roller coaster with corkscrew, they knew it was time to step it up a notch. Loch Ness Monster broke ground as the first ever roller coaster to feature interlocking loops. This feature remains unique to Loch Ness as no other roller coaster in operation features this element. Beyond the two loops, the ride dives down and across the Rhine River a couple times before making its way into the lair. 1980 to 1989 Magnum XL200 opened in 1989, located at Cedar Point. The 80s was another huge year for steel coasters. We went from a roller coaster featuring 3 inversions to having 7. Coasters were getting faster and faster and taller. Cedar Point decided it was time to build something that would stand as the testament to all coaster breakthroughs of the decade by building Magnum XL200. As its name suggests, the ride broke the 200-foot mark, making it the tallest and fastest continuous circuit roller coaster on the planet. Many coaster enthusiasts still rave of its legendary airtime, and I would argue that it competes against many modern hypercoasters. 1990 to 1999 Dueling Dragons opened in 1999, located at Universal Studios Islands of Adventure in Orlando, Florida. The 1990s was yet another defining year for steel roller coasters. B&M stepped into the spotlight by creating their most popular coaster model, the Invert. Track length, speed, and height continued to be crushed with every new project that was announced. The coaster wars were in full swing. Finding my favorite roller coaster from this decade was no short task. I have ridden many roller coasters in this time frame and enjoy plenty of them. Apollo's Chariot, Ride of Steel, Alpengeist, Montu, Kumba, Batman the Ride, Great Bear. The list could go on, but if there was one roller coaster from this decade that made the most lasting impact on me, it had to be Dueling Dragons. 2 inverted roller coasters intertwined in a way that we have never seen before. The near collision moments were epic, causing you to brace for collision. Unfortunately, the ride was torn down a couple years ago to make way for Hagrid's motorbike adventure. Dueling Dragons came into fire a few years before its demise as a couple riders were injured by loose articles being projected at them. In the end, the ride was never allowed to duel again, diminishing this unique feature that made dueling dragons so spectacular. 2000 to 2009, Maverick, opened in 2007, located at Cedar Point. While wooden roller coasters continued to see modest improvement, steel coasters were crushing it with vast improvements with every new year of new coasters. We got our first Giga Coaster, speeds were surpassing 120 miles an hour, the longest roller coaster was constructed with over 8,000 feet of track, inversions were sending riders upside down 10 times, new types of roller coasters were being designed like the flying coaster, launching roller coasters were now more prevalent than ever, even smaller parks were building launching coasters. Boiling down this entire decade to one roller coaster was a challenge. Like always, here are a few notable mentions: Millennium Force, Top Thrill Dragster, Superman the Ride, Storm Runner, Nitro, Diamondback, SheiKra, Griffin, and Tatsu. However, the one roller coaster that I kept coming back to every time I was thinking about this decade is Maverick. This multi-launching roller coaster by Intamin Amusement Rides proved that you didn't have to break records to be a fantastic ride. The roller coaster barely breaks 100 feet, but delivers more thrills than some roller coasters over twice as tall. Maverick's snappy transitions were also something new and refreshing. I made this argument before, but Maverick paved the way for crazy layouts we now see by Rocky Mountain Construction. 2010 to 2019, Steel Vengeance, opened in 2018, located at Cedar Point. There is one manufacturer that looms over this decade, and that's Rocky Mountain Construction. RMC made waves with their hybrid roller coaster. Now an aging wooden roller coaster could be updated into a modern steel roller coaster. Their designs continue to get crazier and crazier, pushing the boundaries farther from what they did before. Finally, in 2018, their epicness came to a pinnacle with Steel Vengeance. Cedar Point wanted to make a statement once again, demonstrating that they are indeed the coaster capital of the world. Steel Vengeance did that by being the tallest, fastest, and longest hybrid roller coaster. This ride features more airtime than any other roller coaster before it. The layout is crazy, featuring 4 inversions, outer bank turns, a 90-degree drop, and how could we forget the insane lap through the giant wooden structure. 2020, Orion, opened in 2020, located at Kings Island in Mason, Ohio. Well, the new decade has started, but unfortunately, it didn't take off the way many of us would have hoped. Many roller coasters that were planned for this year got delayed until 2021, leaving me with only 2 options. Candymonium opened up at Hershey Park, which is another fantastic hypercoaster by B&M. However, Orion, a Giga Coaster by B&M, became my new favorite steel roller coaster of 2020 after getting a few more rides in August. Both roller coasters feature plenty of airtime, but Orion seems to deliver a more complete experience. Well, that concludes my favorite roller coasters throughout the decades. This was a challenging list to create because there are so many great roller coasters, and boiling down every decade to one pick is no small task. Let me know in the comments which roller coasters you would have picked from each decade. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. That way you won't miss out on more great content coming your way by Extreme Thrills.